Right, here's something I do every year. I go from my house in Zushi to the in-laws in Shuzenji. Every year I do this. It's the first year I've done it as a 50-year-old, and I still try to do it to prove to myself that I still can do it. The year that I can't do it, I think, is the year that I have to hang up my boots. So what happens is I set off from Zushi and I go through Kamakura. I end up going over hill. Go over hill and I drop down into the next beach, Zaimokuza Beach. And you can see, as soon as you drop over that hill, you can see Enoshima on the left hand side. And there's Fuji off over in distance. Now as you come into Enoshima, the island, this is where they had Olympic sailing this year. It's beyond me why this has never been a Bond island. I know they had that Bond film, I think it was Daniel Craig's second one. There's that island down in south of Japan that looks like a battleship. Were bombed many times. But Americans, once Periscope were up. Anyway, I'm about half an hour in. This is about 8:30. So this is about half an hour into the ride. And like I say, I've not got the bladder I used to have. So here's the first pee break. So in you go, off you go. And then the next town along is Chigasaki. Now Chigasaki is where I work on a weekend, and it's one of them white men jobs that most middle-aged men can get in Japan. And if you look on the left where palm trees are, this is a wedding venue. So I were in there Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day performing weddings. I sent 6 couples on the merry way in that place. And you're just coming out of Chigasaki now. And this is just a long straight road. I think this goes on for about 15-20 kilometres. And you're heading now to Hiratsuka, which isn't so far off. Hiratsuka isn't so far off. The home of Shonan Bellmare, a footballing powerhouse in Japan. So you cross over this bridge, and then you're into, like I say, you're into the town of Hiratsuka. Now, if you look over to the right hand side, you can see what looks like a cloud in distance. Now, that triangle on the right hand side, that's Mount Fuji. And this year it's had its covering, got its snow covering pretty early on, around end of October. Now, that mountain just keeps getting bigger and bigger the further on you go on this ride. And it's always there. It's always there. Every clear day you can see Mount Fuji in Kanagawa. Yet it's always there. So once you've dropped down into Hiratsuka at the other side of this bridge, this is where I usually stop. But I decided to go on today. Like you can see, it's opening up a bit and it's less built up. The mountains over on the right hand side, and then the sea's on your left here. Now I turned camera now so you could have a look out to sea, but that fence and the height of my camera on my handlebars just lined up perfectly with horizon. So what a waste of time that was. Now as you can see, there's plenty of cyclists out on this road because it's so popular with cyclists because it's flat. But I like to get off the road. So I turned off just after bridge and got myself on beach path. Now there's a lot of decking, and like I say, this was the 29th of December. So there were nobody out because it was a working day here in Japan. So like you see, there's nobody out. But what I forgot to remember is it had been pretty windy last few days, and all this sand had blown up onto the path. So they'd made somewhat of a clearing, but on the left hand side of it, it was still covered in sand. So it was pretty treacherous going. Once it starts getting anywhere over 2 or 3 inch, you're stuck in that sand. So here we are on Hiratsuka Beach for the the second piss break. I do drink a lot of water. I've not got diabetes. So that'd be 2 hours in. And there you can see, there's a lot of school kids and students playing beach volleyball. Everybody's out. I think they were slamming school, to be honest. So the next town along now is Odawara. Now, every year I eat McDonald's twice. Once in December, once in January the following year. Okay, I mean, and my 2 visits are only spaced out by a matter of days. So this is my McDonald's visit. This is one of them. And that were at 11:30, as you can see. Now I'll go in, warm up, because it's bloody freezing out here. Sit myself down. I always have pancakes. Now they've shrunk them down. They're now these mini pancakes. Used to have the big ones, but obviously I think they can make more brass selling these little crappy ones. So this is what I have every year. On way to in-laws and on way back, I'll stop here and have the exact same thing. Big couple of coffees and some pancakes, and then I'm off on my merry way again. The next big town you hit is Odawara. Now Odawara, you can go straight on and go over those mountains there that you can see on your right hand side, and it's the most difficult way to get over into Izu. Those mountains there, just off to the right, which is just off camera, the tallest mountains at lot. I've done it a couple of times, and it's 3.5 hours climbing. But if you go into the centre of town like I am here, if you go into the centre of town and just carry on through, you just follow these blue arrows. Just follow these blue arrows right round, and it takes you into Izu. There's the main theatre of Odawara, as you can see, and it's pretty flat. It's not that busy. In fact, saying that, this is the busiest part of the trip, and it's not that busy. Yeah, not that busy at all. But once you're in Odawara, you get to this left turn, and if you look on map, the left turn here, you can either go straight on, like I say, and carry on over mountains, or turn left here, and this is the gateway to Izu. So I've been in Saddle here for about 4.5 hours. You turn left into Izu, and now all I'm going to do now is hug the coast all the way down to Ito. But first there's some big cities that you hit. Now this city here that I'm coming into now is Atami. Now Atami is the big spa town. This is where a lot of people come on the weekend just to take in the natural hot springs, just to get that pain away, get those aches and pains away. They come here. It's about an hour and a half from, wait, no, it's about an hour on train from where I live, about an hour and a half from Tokyo. A good place to spend a weekend. You know, you've got the sea here, and if it's a nice weekend like it is today, it's cold, but it's still pretty nice. And then you're into Ito at 3 o'clock. Now Ito is where you leave the sea. I mean, it's nice on front, it were nice and calm, but it was as windy as hell, and that wind were in my face. Could whipping off at sea in my face. And then you sort of turn right and you're into the mountains. And it's just a slog for the next hour and a half. Just a complete slog. And it's the back end of the trip, so you're already pretty tired on this back end of the trip. But you've just got to keep going. I had it in lowest gear for about an hour and a half. And it takes a while to get to the summit, but this is the first time I've come this way, because I've looked on map and there's 3 ways of doing it. With that difficult way that I was talking to you about going up towards Hakone, there was the second way that I did last year with my kid. That is pretty difficult, but it's not as difficult as first one. And then there was this one that I did, which isn't too bad. And like I'm saying, I'm summiting here, and I'd been in saddle on that climb for about an hour and a quarter, an hour and a half, something like that. Yeah. So then I'm dropping down into Izu, and I'm on my final leg now. Now this doesn't look much of a hill, but it is. But luckily, for the last push-up, I had wind on my back. So I was getting pretty much helped up this hill. And then I'm getting into village. Now I always say Shuzenji, but it's not Shuzenji. It's a village about 5 kilometres outside. But you won't be able to find this on the map because it's so small. And it is really in the middle of the countryside. But you know, you come here, you relax, they've got no work, kids are playing with their cousins, there's no to do apart from cycle. It is perfect cycling country. And like I say, this is something I do every year. The last time I were here were in December the year before. And here we are, into the farmhouse, surrounded by paddy fields, which the father-in-law tills every year. We don't have to buy rice every time we run out. We get sent a massive box of it. And the father-in-law sorted me out an outhouse where I can put my bike in. So every year, well, he clears it out for me. This was full of shit before, but about 5 or 6 years ago it was cleared all out. And that's it. That's the cycle I do every year to get here. 107 kilometres, takes about 8.5 hours. And now I have got about 5 days of doing nothing, eating good food that has been dug up for me, farmed for me. And now it's time to relax. Thanks for sticking it out. That's me signing off for 2021. Enjoy next year. See you soon. Just passing through a podcast. Have a listen.